Hey, it's Joe AMoia, founder and creator of GPSforlove.com. We were having a conversation over in the Love Master University classroom, and one of our classmates, basically came out and said, "Joe, how do you love yourself?" And it was such a great question that I decided to create it into a blog for everyone here in the GPS for Love community. Because, I love our educational system, but I think a lot of the stuff that we're taught is really meaningless in this thing called life. I think the really important things that we need to know, we're just not taught. And one of them is how to love yourself. And it sounds like such a common, easy thing, but why is it that so many individuals struggle with loving themselves? So what I decided to do today is create a video with 5 steps, 5 actions that you can take to start loving yourself more. So if you've been struggling with loving yourself, or you've never really loved yourself, or whatever's going on for you, I really hope that this will help you on your journey. So let's get right into the first one. The first one is that you have to accept yourself as who you are. See, one of the biggest problems with self-love is we don't accept ourselves for who we are. I try to be really transparent in these videos. There was a time in my life where I really had a hard time accepting me for who I was physically. A lot of my identity was tied up into how I thought things should be. I started losing my hair really in my late teens when I was about 19. And that was, this was during the 80s, in the big hair days, here in New Jersey. And it was very emotionally troubling for me. I wouldn't say it was depressing, but it was very, very upsetting for me. I was very self-conscious about it. So much so that in my early 20s, I decided to get a hairpiece. And my identity was in my physical appearance. I had a hard time accepting that about myself. Also, quite transparently, I was born with the big Italian nose. And, people would call that out. And I was very self-conscious and I was very insecure about it. But once I got to the point in my journey where it's like, you know what? I'm not my hair. I'm not my nose. This is the way I was made. I must have been made this way for a reason. And if somebody has a problem with it, then it's their stuff, not mine. It became so freeing. I learned to accept my imperfections. I learned to see that I was perfectly imperfect. I was created with a big nose and loss of hair for a specific reason. Didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand it in my mind, in my ego. But in my heart, in my being, I knew there must be a reason why I was made this way. And once I got to that point, well, everything changed and it became much easier to love and accept myself. So that was the first step. The second step, and this is a big one, is you got to let go of the past. See, as human beings, we go through this thing called life, and we all have experiences. And in our experiences, if we like them, we're happy. It feels good. But if we don't like them, we associate a meaning to it. We call it pain. We call it a heartbreak, betrayal, whatever it may be. And as a result, we hold on to that. And we hold on to those feelings. And most of the time, we're not taught how to process those feelings and deal with them in a healthy way. So one of the best things you can do to love yourself is to learn to let go of the past. Now, that doesn't mean that you ignore the past, doesn't mean that you pretend it didn't happen, but what will help you on your journey is that you have to learn from it. See, I don't think anything in your past is a mistake. I think it's an expensive learning lesson. And if you learn from it and realize that life didn't happen to you, it happened for you, and you get the lesson, get the experience, get the gift from that unwanted experience, well, then you know what? You're going to feel so much better in this thing called life. So you got to realize, again, we're all human. We're all going to go through our stuff. But if you learn to let go of the past, to learn from it and to move on, then you're going to feel better about yourself and about your life. So that's the second step. The third step, and this is a really big one, it's forgiveness. See, if you had to really look honestly, you did the best you could with what you had, right? Now, did you do everything perfectly? Probably not. We've all made really bad choices in our love life. We've really done stupid things. We've really taken the easy way out. We really avoided making tough decisions because we were afraid of the consequences. We all stayed in relationships because we were afraid of being alone. This is what happens as human beings. We very often make choices and decisions from a place of fear. And as a result, things very often don't work out. And we get mad, we get frustrated, we get pissed off. We feel hurt. So what you have to do is you have to learn to forgive yourself. It's what I call give yourself permission to suck. It's kind of like, you know what? Man, that sucked. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. But you know what? I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to do what I can to make sure that I never repeat this again. There's the old expression, those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Well, that's the way you have to look at it, is like, well, what was going on? Why did I do that? Why did I stay with that person? Why did I chase that person when it was clear they weren't giving me what I needed? And then instead of beating yourself, just go, you know what? I'm going to learn from it, and it's okay. I'm going to be okay. That's when you forgive yourself. And also, it's important to forgive someone else. Carrying around that hurt, that baggage, that anchor really hurts you. What most people think is forgiving somebody means that you excuse them from their behavior. It's not that at all. You know, it's, forgive, but don't forget. It's like, you know what? You screwed me over. I realize that. I'm going to learn from this and make sure that I don't give you that opportunity again. I'm going to forgive you for me. Okay? Because I'm not going to carry this shit around. I'm not going to let it affect me and fuck up the rest of my life because of some dumbass thing that you did. I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to see exactly what it is and see where I could have done things differently. And I'm going to forgive you so that I can go on and heal and have the life that I really want. So forgiveness is really key towards self-love, forgiving yourself and also forgiving others. Now, the fourth one, this is a real easy one, is that you've got to take care of yourself, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, the old mind, body, spirit. You have to nourish yourself in a healthy way. And the truth is, most of us don't. We eat like crap. We don't exercise on a consistent basis, and we ignore the mental and the emotional part until we get in too much pain, and then we want to fix it. Then we want to take the quick pill, then we want to take the Zoloft and the Prozac just to feel better, but we don't get to the cause of the problem. So you've got to nourish yourself consistently so that you're strong, so that when the divine storms in life hit, when the shit hits the fan, when things go wrong, you have the strength, you have the belief, you have the intestinal fortitude to just meet it head on, to deal with it, to grow, so that you can go on and get to wherever you want to go in life. So number 4 is you got to take care of yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And the last one, it's a real simple one, is easy as well. Excuse me, it's a little early here today, but it's another simple principle as well. These principles aren't rocket science. They're just really basic tenets of how to live a healthy and emotionally balanced life. And the last one is to love others. The greatest form of self-love, or I believe one of the greatest forms of self-love, is simply loving others. It's by living the golden rule, treating others the way you want to be treated. Now, let me preface this by saying, loving others does not mean that you become a human doormat. Living by the golden rule means you treat others the way you want to be treated. So if someone's disrespecting you, someone's dishonoring you, someone's cheating on you, the greatest form of self-love is saying, you know what, that shit doesn't work. Okay, you do not pull that. I love myself enough to not allow you to do that to me, to not allow you to stay in my life when you are not treating me the way that I deserve to be treated, the way that I would treat you. So the golden rule is a two-way street. It doesn't mean that you just love others and just allow people to walk over you. That's not what we're talking about. So that it gets misconstrued very often is that, well, love others means that, I just sit back, love everybody unconditionally, and then allow them to walk over me. Absolutely not. When you love others, that includes yourself. Okay, so these 5 tenets are really, really important. So if you've been struggling with loving yourself, here's a little assignment. Okay, I want you to take one of these steps, doesn't make a difference which one, and right now, take action. Do something right now, not 5 minutes from now, not 15 minutes, not today, tomorrow, not later today, not tomorrow, right now. Take one action that will be a sign of self-love. And then go through this, write these 5 steps down and make a commitment to work on whichever you need to work on first. You don't have to master off, oh my God, how am I going to do it? I haven't been doing any of these things. Now I've got no. Okay. You want to take one step at a time, one step at a time. It's like going to the gym and building a muscle. You don't go to the gym, lift weights and then your muscle is huge. You go to the gym day after day, week after week, and you eat well and you exercise and you build those muscles until one day you go, wow, I'm strong. Well, that's exactly how it works with your self-love muscle, is you have to build it consistently over time. And the way to create momentum is by taking actions. Actions lead to momentum. Momentum leads to results. That's what you're going to do. That's your homework. So go ahead and do it. As always, if you have any other questions, comments, or feedback, put them in the box below because we're here to help. Have a blessed day. Much love.